All right, good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Anna Braun.
Here.
Timothy Cummings.
Here.
Jamie Falco.
Here.
Louis Figueroa.
Here.
Lori Herrick.
Here.
Li Wu Hong.
Here.
Wilbur Pan.
Here.
Marianne Tangos.
Here.
Heather Gloss.
Here, we have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag.
I pledge
All right, good evening. It will be more fun in an hour when we have lots of little people here. All right, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, the Alternative Press of East Brunswick, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotaped meetings are not edited for any purpose. Individuals who speak at the board's public meetings should be aware of these videotaping rules. All right, we have a need for a closed session. Whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in a public meeting, and whereas these subjects are within the exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act and are permitted to be discussed in closed session pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, and whereas the Board of Education intends to discuss matters as listed on tonight's agenda, whereas the length of the closed session is estimated to be 1 hour, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action will be taken. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
Wilbur?
Second.
Marianne? All right, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we are in closed. We'll be back in 1 hour. All right, hello, we are back, and I am so happy to see my favorite kind of people in the audience. I'm looking forward to what you have to say. Oh, one more favorite people. All right, but first, you guys have to sit tight just for a second. We have the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight's boardroom features artwork created by our talented students from Irwin and Central Elementary Schools. The artwork will be available for viewing through December 5th. I would like to recognize the art teachers, Brooke Serbone and Angeliki Karakoglu, as well as the school principals, Joanne Shamilowitz, the principal of Irwin Elementary School, and Dr. Michael Gaskell, the principal at Central Elementary School. Chittick Elementary School successfully hosted its inaugural Math Olympics, turning the school into a hub of excitement and learning. Students engaged in high-energy math games focused on number sense, subitizing, counting, and fact fluency, earning points for their respective grades. The event was a dynamic success featuring movement, excitement, and non-stop math. A special thank you goes to the math specialists, Christy Cognata and Kelly Stalling, who worked hard to bring innovative alternative math experiences to our students. In the end, the kindergarten class claimed the gold medal. On Wednesday, October 29th, the high school hosted their inaugural Tricks and Treats, which turned out to be a great success. It was wonderful to hear about so many families enjoying the evening and our youngest bears having fun in a safe and welcoming environment. Dr. Bouchard received a number of great compliments about our high school students who served as outstanding leaders and role models throughout the event. Their enthusiasm and teamwork truly made the night special. I would like to extend a sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to making this event possible and to our community members for their strong support in establishing this new tradition. Also, on Wednesday, October 29th, Churchill Junior High School staff hosted the first ever Families Learning Together Night, an evening designed to support our basic skills and multilingual learner families with hands-on practical ways to help their children at home. The event was made possible through a FAST grant with the East Brunswick Education Association. This event was created to bridge the gap between school and home and bring families, students, and teachers together for learning, connection, and fun. Churchill math and reading specialists, ESL teacher, and school counselors led mini sessions on math games, online textbook tools, district literacy supports, and organizational tips. Thank you to the East Brunswick Public Library for joining the event to share local resources. Over the recent Teachers Convention break, the district partnered with East Brunswick Township's Construction Engineering Department to resurface and repave Warnsdorfer Elementary School's parking lots. This project highlights the continued commitment between the Board of Education and the township to execute shared services to benefit the community. The Board of Education and school community appreciates the generous financial contribution made by the mayor, township council, and township administration. The Hammersholt Upper Elementary School Counseling Department held a special event during lunch on Tuesday, November 11th. Students used the time to create inspirational posters to thank our local veterans. In addition, the staff took a group photo to collectively recognize their service. In sports, Allison Zeichner is the second all-time cross-country female runner and the first female runner since 1979 to qualify for the Meet of Champions, which will take place on Saturday, November 15th. Wow.
Yep, that's it.
Girls tennis won the Red Division and GMC tournament for the 5th year in a row. Another wow. And field hockey won the GMC tournament for the 5th year in a row. Congratulations to our October High School Athletes of the Month. Students were selected for this honor by the coaching staff based on performance, demonstration of leadership, effort in practice, and for modeling exceptional character. The East Brunswick Education Association held a Denim Day this month in honor of Veterans Day. EBEA members, along with district staff, raised $2,100 to help support the VFW Post 133 and the Wounded Warrior Project. This Sunday, November 16th, the East Brunswick Education Foundation will be hosting their annual 5K Walk, Run, Bear Crawl, and Kids Fun Run at the Community Arts Center. The East Brunswick High School Drama Club is proud to present Radium Girls. The production will run Friday, November 21st and Saturday, November 22nd at 7 p.m. and Sunday, November 23rd at 3 p.m. All performances will take place in the East Brunswick High School Joseph J. Sweeney Auditorium. Tickets can be purchased at ebhsdrama.org. First quarter report cards can be viewed online through Parent Access Monday, November 24th. Hard copies will be made available at the request of anyone without internet access. And just a few reminders. Wednesday, November 26th is a single session day with lunch served for students in grades K through 6. Schools will be closed Thursday, November 27th and Friday, November 28th for the Thanksgiving break. And I would like to wish the East Brunswick community a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now, did you guys go to Halloween at the high? Did anybody go? Yeah, you went? So I went. It was, if you have, as a parent, if you have the opportunity to go next year, it was amazing. My daughter's in 3rd grade, and she walked away. The candy is Halloween, but she walked away wanting to take coding classes at the high school because she played the spooky video games, and the kids told her they made them. It was just such a great experience and very inclusive. There was a lot of areas that were good for all of our learners. All right, up next, we have a resolution of appreciation and recognition for American Education Week. You want to come on up? Okay. Whereas the public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equity. And whereas, by equipping young Americans with both practical skills and broader intellectual abilities, school gives them hope for and access to a productive future. And whereas public education employees, be they administrators, teachers, health and student service workers, librarians, custodians, bus drivers, clerical workers, food service professionals, skilled trade workers, security guards, technical employees, or substitutes, work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. And whereas public schools serve as a vital hub, uniting educators, volunteers, business leaders, and the officials for the common purpose of student achievement, now therefore be it resolved that the East Brunswick Board of Education hereby proclaims November 17th through 21st as American Education Week. This goes to Dr. Zimbicki.
Need a motion?
All right. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All right, Leah. Any discussion while we're all? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, Ms.
Thank you. Awesome. We'll share it with everybody tomorrow.
All right, now we are on to more students, but a bigger student. We are on to our student representatives report. Jane, we are so happy to see you.
So happy to see you as well. Good evening, everyone. This week, we kicked off field testing for all of 10th and 11th graders. We're already on day 2, and students have been powering through testing with focus and determination. They'll be wrapping things up tomorrow, and we're proud to have of how hard they're working. Now on to some exciting news. Our student council is thrilled to announce our second annual holiday market coming up on December 10th. So many students and staff members are eager to show off their creative products and small businesses. After the success of last year, we're confident this one will be even bigger and better, so mark your calendars. Speaking of big events, our homecoming was an incredible success. We had over 800 students attend, more than last year, and we raised over $2,000 for each class and the student council. It was amazing to see how many students come together and celebrate. We also hosted our annual Tricks and Treats, which brought tons of smiles to our community. Families and kids had a blast visiting the 40 clubs that hosted the fun and festive activities. We received so much positive feedback. It was truly a team effort that made the night special. Coming up next, we have the Anderson Bowl on November 18th, complete with a bonfire and brand new event format as it is a flag football tournament. The rain date is the 20th. Another huge highlight this fall was our school-wide pink out in support of the MKS Foundation. Together, we raised an incredible $8,500 plus over $2,000 from Dr. Rushore's fundraiser, totaling more than $11,000 donated. Thank you to everyone who showed your pink spirit and supported this cause. On the arts side, our drama club has been hard at work on the production of Radium Girls, which opens Friday night, November 21st. From our stage manager, Alyssa Buchwald, we've put so much work into the show, and we know it'll all pay off with amazing performance. Kaylin DeRose, one of our student council members who presented at the NJ Teachers Convention, states, I focus on how high school students are impacted by a variety of factors within and outside of the classroom and how that overwhelms many students. I discussed how teachers and administrators serve as mentors to guide students to be equipped for a dynamic world that's currently changing and how students are also future leaders. I closed out my speech with student testimonies of how teachers impacted their lives outside of academics. Such an impressive accomplishment and a great representation of our school community. Looking ahead, we have Sophomore Parent Night on December 3rd, a great opportunity for families to learn more about their high school life and how to support their students. And finally, a reminder that Club Yearbooks photos will take place next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for round 1, with more slots available in December. It's been an exciting few months full of school spirit, creativity, and community, and we're looking forward to keeping the momentum going through the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now the moment we've been waiting for. We have learning across the district. The Chittick third graders will be sharing their project, Pollinate, Migrate, and Educate. Who's coming up? Everybody's coming up. That's awesome. All right, we have the little box for them to stand on? Yes.
Yes.
They look so nice, too.
We would like to begin by thanking the East Brunswick Board of Education for giving the Murray A. Chittick third grade teachers and a few of our students the opportunity to share our symbolic monarch migration project. Our third grade presenters this evening are Abby, Lucas Mo, Adon, Gabby, Myra, Maxine, Anisha, and Lucas Z.
The symbolic monarch migration mimics the migration of monarch butterflies to Mexico in the autumn and their return north in the spring. Students in the USA and Canada send life-size paper butterflies in the fall. We receive different paper butterflies from the participating groups in the spring, plus a letter from a student in Mexico. Students in the US and Canada also create ambassador folders as gifts for students in Mexico.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. We are third graders from Chittick Elementary School, and we're excited to tell you about our project called Pollinate, Migrate, Educate. This project helped us learn about butterflies, pollinators, and the environment. At the beginning of the school year, we continued learning about butterflies from second grade to understand how monarch butterflies migrate all the way to Mexico every fall.
We joined something called the Symbolic Monarch Migration Program. We made life-sized paper butterflies and wrote letters to students in Mexico. Our butterflies traveled to Mexico, just like the real ones do, and in the spring, we'll get new butterflies and letters back.
We also learned about native plants, the ones that grow naturally in New Jersey. We discovered that these plants are very important because they help pollinators like bees and butterflies survive. In the fall, we planted real pollinator plants in our school garden. We learned that planting in the fall helps the plants get strong roots before the hot summer. We can't wait to see them grow and maybe even see real monarchs visit our garden. One of the most important plants for monarch butterflies is the milkweed. It's the only plant where monarchs lay their eggs, and it's the only food baby caterpillars can eat. Without milkweed, monarchs can't survive, so we planted some in our garden too. And tonight, we brought packets of milkweed seeds for each of you. We also read nonfiction books about butterflies, insects, and habitats. We learned new science words like migration, ecosystem, habitat, and adaptations. Now we understand that every animal and plant has an important job in nature. One of our favorite parts of this project was when Eyes of the Wild came to visit our school. They brought real animals that live right here in New Jersey and taught us amazing facts about them. We learned that skunks are like nature's garbage disposals because they eat things that other animals won't. And did you know that box turtles can live up to 100 years, but they usually don't travel farther than a football field from where they were born? This project will make us feel like real scientists. We learned that even kids can make a difference by planting and protecting and caring for our planet.
Okay, so thank you so much to the Board of Education and to the EBEF for supporting our Pollinate, Migrate, Educate project.
And we are proud of what we learned, and we look forward to show our growth, just like our gardens.
If we could gather all of our amazing presenters up front for a picture also. Thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you. You did such a great job.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Great. A surreal experience.
Did I see kind of a documentary?
Yes. Are we going to care for that? Affect them? Line them up?
Did Karen?
She did not.
It depends where.
Sounds good. What? Do you want to say something? All of our Chittick supporters. Let's get this picture.
They were so great.
They really were. It's a lot of parents. We have the parents out there. Mm-hmm. Did you go to Chittick? No. All right, we're going to go a little out of order for a second. This is not our normal, but our student representative who just spoke before, she's a senior at the high school, but she went to Chittick, and she would like to say something.
Hello. And you're Miss Anderson, right? I remember. OMG. I'm feeling a little nostalgic now. You kids are so amazing. I love the presentation. And you guys are going to go so far with such amazing teachers. And I loved Chittick so much. And I wish I could go back.
All right, we want to thank all of our learners for sharing what they learned and your public speaking. Your parents must be so proud. That's really hard to do to get up there. You did an amazing job. But now I'd like to call a very brief recess because you all should go home and go to bed. It's getting late.
President Watts, before we discharge these young people, can I make a comment?
Okay.
You guys did a very good job. You learned a lot. In order to prepare the presentation and this beautiful gift, you put a lot of effort with assistance from your teachers. Thank you very much. Can I challenge you guys with one or two questions? During the migration, how did the butterfly communicate with each other? And second question is, I know you have the answer. Let me finish my question. And second, during the migration, how could the butterfly find home instead of get lost? So now you can answer the question, or you can come back to answer my question a few years later. You don't have to do it now.
Do we know how they communicate? I saw heads nodding. Do we know that one? Do you? What do you know?
You can go to the podium so everyone can hear you.
Is it like their antennae? Like the ones that grow on top of their head? Like
Mr. Hong, did you know the answer to the question? Because this young man is incredibly polite and he's looking at me.
So I can attest that the antennae actually are an important part of butterfly-to-butterfly communication, so you got it.
I'm not sure that Mr. Hong was positive about that one, but I appreciated you looking right at us. I'm an English teacher, I don't know. All right, I want to thank all of our Chittick friends. We're going to have a very brief recess so that you guys can go home, spend some time with your family, and get some sleep because you have school in the morning, all right? So a quick recess, we'll be right back. And now we have the good of the cause for the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. To protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. In order to permit the fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board shall provide a period of public comment at every meeting of the board. Each person has up to 3 minutes to speak. The board secretary will keep the time. When you step up, if you could give your name and address, unless you're a student, and then just your name and school, we would appreciate it. Is there anyone wishing to address the board? Hello.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
My name is Dr. Maggie Georges. I live on Garfield Avenue in East Brunswick, New Jersey. So recently, East Brunswick students were tested using the new reading pilot program, yet many families were not given clear information about what the program is, what the results mean, or how the district plans to move forward. As a parent of 3 children in grades K to 3, I was alarmed to see so many indicators showing that my kids are not reading at grade level. Clearly, our current literacy curriculum is not supporting our students the way it should, and these pilot results highlight a significant problem. I want to emphasize that it took a lot of time, effort, and speaking to multiple people to even gather the limited information I have. There has been no clear communication about this pilot or the district literacy plans. It should not be this difficult for parents to understand what is happening with their children's education. Once again, East Brunswick has done a poor job communicating with families on issues that directly impact student learning. On top of that, I was taken back when I saw the agenda and saw that the district is approving only 1 hour of teacher training for Amplify, the brand new reading program, while other programs are receiving more hours. If we are adopting a new literacy curriculum, comprehensive training should be a requirement and built directly into the implementation plan. A program can be only effective if teachers are properly trained and supported. I understand a pilot is meant to identify needs and challenges, but families deserve transparency and answers now. We need to know, 1, how is the district training teachers in the reading instruction? 2, why is there so little allocated training time for a new program? 3, what is the timeline for full implementation across all grades? 4, why did an outdated curriculum stay in place for so long when better systems existed? 5, what immediate supports are being provided to students who were flagged as below grade level? I'm also unsure how to feel about my children not being part of the pilot. On one hand, I want them to have access to this improved curriculum as soon as possible. On the other hand, I worry that the pilot group may not have been fully supported because teachers did not receive enough training before administrating it. That is not fair to the teachers or students. As a taxpayer and a parent, I want to ensure that East Brunswick is providing the strongest, most effective curriculum possible. Families choose to live here and pay the taxes that we do because we expect a high quality of education. If our current literacy curriculum is outdated or ineffective, the district has an obligation to move quickly and responsibly towards a better research-aligned system. So when will this program be implemented for all students? And what concrete steps are being taken right now to ensure teachers are adequately trained and students receive the support they need immediately? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Maggie. Do you want to give your information to the ladies back there? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Bethy, Watchung Road. I'd also like to bring up something about literacy, which relates to the Matthew effect in reading. So the Matthew effect describes how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer when it comes to literacy. So students who learn to read early and well continue to grow rapidly. They read more, they build vocabulary, and access knowledge across all subjects. But students who struggle to read fall further behind, not because they lack intelligence or effort, but because they're not getting equal access to the very tool that unlocks learning, reading. This is why it's crucial for students to have access to grade level, starting in elementary school, instead of lower level text, which has been going on because of subjective reading level assessments. By the time these students reach middle school, the gap has widened dramatically. Science and social studies texts become heavy with academic language, abstract concepts, and domain-specific vocabulary. A student reading below grade level isn't just struggling to read the words, they're struggling to access the content itself. They may not be able to meaningfully engage in lessons, participate in discussions, or demonstrate their understanding of grade level ideas. When we talk about equity, this is where it matters most. Every student deserves access to grade level learning, not just exposure to simplified materials or watered down assignments. Struggling readers need structured, evidence-based support that allows them to catch up. Students in the resource room setting were excluded from the language arts pilots. They are still using LLI, leveled literacy intervention, and assessing reading levels, which leads to limited or no access to grade level text. If we continue allowing students to fall further through the cracks, the Matthew effect doesn't just describe a reading problem, it describes an opportunity gap, one that compounds year after year. We have an obligation to ensure that all students, especially those who struggle with literacy, receive instruction and intervention that is effective, research-based, and aligned with how the brain learns how to read. That's how we make equity real. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else?
Kevin Lynn, Clearview Road, East Brunswick. Our youngest son is in the preschool education program. My wife and I sent 2 emails to the board this last month. Our son is being excluded from the community program's aftercare program, as preschoolers in the special ed program can't be included. They used to be, but since the district changed their afternoon dismissal time, they can't attend aftercare. These are kids that would arguably benefit the most from the socialization and inclusion in ASK. Gen Ed preschoolers are welcome, just not the ones with special needs. This, one can assume, is a very unfortunate unintended consequence of the time change at best, or at worst, an intentional exclusion of our neediest kids and families. We came up with a solution for our son that would cost the district no money at all and would work around this exclusionary policy of the township. Our son receives ABA therapy after school for an additional 3 hours. We found a daycare that's inclusive that would be willing to have our ABA therapist that we pay for continue to work with him so we can go to kindergarten next year in a least restrictive environment. We are literally trying to save the district money. The Transportation Department immediately denied our request as EB's policy states they will only transport to a location in the catchment area for the school or our home. This doesn't make sense. He doesn't go to our home school. He's already bused outside our catchment area. No other center is open to working with our ABA therapist to make sure he gets therapy. Without the therapy, it's likely he'll need to go out of district to a special education school to meet his needs at the expense of the district. This not only is costly, but doesn't fulfill the district's mandate for least restrictive environment. This seems particularly arbitrary. It should only matter that it's in East Brunswick, which it is. After sending the board these emails, we heard nothing. Eventually, weeks later, we receive an email from the business administrator. The response we received is what you'd expect if you ask an airline for a refund on a delayed flight. It lacked any sort of humanity or compassion. The thing is, we didn't write a corporation or business. We reached out to our child's Board of Education to look at a policy that, if revised, would make a significant difference for one of its students, while having minimal impact or expense to the district. Following is an excerpt from the response. We must firmly underscore that your request for transportation is denied and a revision to Regulation 8600 is not planned to be undertaken, as the decision regarding transportation has been thoroughly reviewed and finalized based on 8600. This matter is now closed. Further communication seeking to debate this policy, application, and decision will not receive a response. I mean, come on. This is the board's response to a parent asking for support and pointing out that a policy leaves us in a position of having to unnecessarily terminate our child's therapy instead of his bus dropping him off at a center in East Brunswick that's no further from the school than our house. Where is the compassion, the collaboration, the logic? Our question for the board, was this a collaborative response and decision? We reached out to the board for help, not the business administrator. If this is how our board responds to families like ours in this manner and refuses to even entertain that a policy may be excluding the needs of the most vulnerable students, this board has lost its way. I truly hope this was one individual responding out of turn and not the sentiment of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Jack Levitt, 4 Springfield Road, Chairman of the East Brunswick Education Foundation. I was here at the last board meeting to invite all of you to join us at our bear crawl coming up on Sunday. Happy to say we have 635 people registered, which beats our total from last year of about 540 or something like that. And I was happy to see that there's more names from the Board of Ed on there. So thank you for heeding my cry. And We are taking walk-ins, no pun intended, on Sunday. So if you have forgotten or suddenly find yourself freed up, please join us. That's first thing. Second, last night we had our monthly meeting and it was our big grant season. Last night we gave away $29,000 in mini grants and larger grants to more than half the schools in the district. I have to say that Chittick, we saw them here tonight, they really came with 5 or 6 grants last night. They're trying to bankrupt us or something like that. I talked to Rachel about that. But we are on track to have our biggest year of giving away grants this year, and we are thrilled about it. So just keep them coming. Also, congratulations to the board members who will be returning. Look forward to working with you in the coming 3 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Anyone else? All right, I'm going to close the public portion. Moves us on to our agenda. All right, under Board of Education items 1 through 4. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Lori and, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Is it? And Jamie. All right, discussion? Anna?
Did everybody get the minutes sent to their home?
Oh my God.
Because I did not.
They weren't in the packet?
No.
Then let's do a revision.
Okay.
Let's do a motion for, to modify the motion to
All right.
exclude the minutes.
Move to
That's
modify the
entire-
motion.
That's all of it, isn't it? Or no?
No,
No,
I
item
think
1.
So
All
two-
right,
two,
so
3, and
I need
4.
a motion to exclude items 2, 3, and 4.
Move.
Second.
Wilbur, Lori, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstention, or sorry, opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. Can I have a motion for item 1?
We already have.
Oh, we already have.
So that-
I'm
so
sorry.
that's on the table
All right,
still.
now discussion. Thank you, Anna. Item 1. All right. This is a
Roll call.
roll call vote?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So I was looking at policy 1320. Is that something we want to hold off on until the new superintendent is on board? Because this is something that will be affecting one of her staff members. So is that something we want to move forward on? I don't know.
I believe Dr. Mammon is already aware.
Oh, okay, because, since she's not officially our employee, I wasn't sure
Yeah.
what the protocols were.
Any other discussions?
Policy 2535. I just had a question on definitions B, item 4, letter D. It says a representative selected by the Board of Education. Do we need to specify in there how that individual is selected or by whom?
What was that policy?
2535, the library material.
This is definition D, you said, right?
B, number 4, lowercase d.
That's in the regulation. Is that correct? The policy doesn't have that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
It's policy and regulation, so it's
Yeah,
really.
they're
Oh,
bunched
here, I'm
together.
sorry. Down the bottom, it's regulation.
So upon receipt of the request for removal forms, review committee consisting of.
4D.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So the question again?
Does this need to specify how the board designee, it says a representative selected by the Board of Education? Do we need to specify how that happens? Because,
So you, under your board bylaws, the president appoints the committee members, and so that would be a president designation.
Right.
Okay, so for,
So this is one where the president will select who would be the representative under this, the Library Act, to serve as the board's representative of this committee to make that review.
okay, so that's something.
Yeah,
we
but
need to
you already
do.
have that, in your bylaws,
Yeah.
that is something, that's one of the enumerated powers of the president, and in the absence of the president, the vice president would select that person.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Yes. Anna Braun.
Yes.
Timothy Cummings.
Yes.
Jamie Falco.
Yes.
Bruce Figueroa.
Yes.
Lori Herrick.
Yes.
Lee Woo Hong.
Yes.
Wilbur Pan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Taniers.
Yes.
Heather Gloss.
Yes, motion carries. All right, moving on to curriculum instruction, items 1 through 5. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Lori, Jamie? All right, discussion?
Lori and Jamie.
Miriam?
Yeah, so I see for the Amplify, it is 1 hour that we're approving, but do we have a list of how many total hours our staff is going to receive?
This is for the reading screener. This is not the reading program, the pilot program.
Okay.
So for the reading screener, the teachers did have training, and this is training them in the progress monitoring feature of the program, and this is for teachers who are working with students who are below grade level. So this would be our reading specialists and our special education teachers, so that they can learn this one feature in the program.
Okay, how many have they received so far?
All of the staff, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you.
Okay, so this is separate from the
This
pilot
is separate.
itself?
Yes, this is not anything to
Okay.
do with the pilot.
Okay, all right. Can we get those numbers though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wilbur?
Yeah, just building off of Mary Ann's question, in addition to how many hours of training the teachers have had up to this point, are there future hours of training that go into the?
With the reading pilots,
Mhm.
we've gone with the companies, both companies' recommendations, and the teachers have had the number of hours, I think it was half day of training initially in the summer, and then the companies are meeting with the teachers monthly, and then they're also coming on site. In the last 2 weeks, I've been on site with them, and we've been doing walkthroughs in the classroom, and the companies have been providing ongoing support for the teachers.
Okay.
They wouldn't want to front-load all of that because it would be a lot at the beginning.
Sure. And will that continue through the length
Throughout
of
the
the
whole
school year?
year.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
And if we do choose to implement a program, then there would be extensive training.
Lori?
I'm just going to comment on 4 and 5. Those are both contracts with the National Council on Alcohol and Drug Dependence of Middlesex, or otherwise known as Wellspring Center for Prevention. I know that a lot of parents had voiced concerns regarding current drug trends, and as well as vaping and cannabis use, especially at schools or in the bathrooms, especially lower grades. So I'm happy to see that we have partnered with them to do these trainings, and I encourage parents to attend. I'm just going to say, when we take the roll call vote, I will abstain because I used to work for them. So I'm just going to avoid conflict right there.
And I just want to say that in June, I surveyed put out a survey to all parents to gain an understanding of what type of topics they would like to see at the parent university sessions, and these were some of the responses. And if anybody knows of any other organizations that provide quality sessions for parents, please let me know.
Yeah, they do a really excellent job, and I'm just excited because I know that for many years, them as well as other organizations like NJ4S have been really trying to get in here and do work, and so I'm happy to see that we're being able to build those partnerships.
All right, Tim?
Sorry, I just want to jump back to the Amplify training. So 1 hour remote training, I just wanted to confirm again, for the purpose of the vote today, you're confident that that is sufficient for
This is
our
one
needs?
feature of
Yeah.
the reading screener.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with the pilot programs.
Got you.
This is the screener.
Yeah.
This is the progress monitoring feature in the program.
Okay.
So this training is what the company recommended. If this is not sufficient and teachers need more, then we would be happy to provide more support.
That's great. That's what I was hoping to hear. Okay, so a teacher should feel comfortable coming to the district to express their need for more help if needed.
100%,
Yeah,
yes.
great, thank you.
Sorry,
Anyone?
and
Go ahead.
just to piggyback off of Tim's question, is there training available on a as needed basis then, or would they, if they have a need, do they have to wait until another opportunity is presenting itself?
To use this feature, this progress monitoring
Right,
feature?
or to receive any kind of professional development or training?
I mean, everybody has administered the reading screener, and, you know, the principals and supervisors haven't expressed that any teacher said they didn't know how to do it, that they did it already.
Okay.
So this feature, you know, the company's recommending an hour of training, so I personally don't know how complicated this one feature is, but if a teacher was having trouble using the feature, then we would, you know, they would definitely be able to communicate that, or we could check in with them and ask them how's it going.
Okay, and is there something to see? So for full transparency, there were two, and I know that was for the pilot, not for the reading
Right.
screener, but there were two meetings last night.
And Monday night, there'll be one for the reading screener.
Okay, so there was a question that arose because of a feature that they weren't aware of. How do they know that there's features that they're not aware of, is my question.
Well, they're getting trained in the progress monitoring feature. You know, the company did the overview, and the teachers have administered the reading screener. So I could ask the company, are there features that we haven't used? But I think it was pretty straightforward.
No, I mean, if a teacher doesn't know that a feature exists, how would they know that they
In the
need
reading
support in it?
screener
Yeah.
or in the pilot program?
Either or, you know, like they only
Well-
know what they know, right?
I guess so. The company is having monthly meetings, check-in meetings with the teachers, so they're reviewing everything with them. And when they're here on site, they're in the classrooms. You know, we spent the whole day. So, I mean, we could assume that somebody doesn't know something, but I haven't heard that for a fact, except that feature that you pointed out last night.
Okay.
And we're going to dive into that with Laura.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else on curriculum and instruction? All right, this is a voice vote, so I don't know, Lori, how you do your abstention there.
Wish you could just say it.
Before we start, what are you abstaining on?
4 and 5.
Thank you. All right, beyond that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries with Lori's abstention noted. All right, taking us to business and support operations, items 1 through 16. Can I have a motion, please?
Move.
All right,
Second.
Wilbur and Jamie. All right, discussion? Lori?
Okay, let's do. The long-range planning one first, number 9. So maybe just a little background or thought about
Sure.
things that were picked, things that are in here, just.
So, right, so the long-range plan provides, the State Department of Education requires the submission of a long-range plan. It includes a whole host of potential projects, and the key is potential projects. The board isn't wedded to them, but these are things that have been identified as needs for the various facilities throughout the district. We've worked with our professionals on this, our architects, to identify what they are. One of the biggest items in here, as you would note, is what do we do with the high school? So there are two components to that. One is a full-blown renovation, and one is a replacement. They're both very costly. But the renovation component breaks down every element that could be identified as needing replacement. But this is, the state has been behind on the long-range facilities plan submission process. They've been through the process of refining or revising the systems by which we're supposed to submit. I think they put that on the shelf for a little while, and now they're requiring that an update be submitted. What we have here is a very comprehensive list that encompasses every building in the district, school buildings, as well as support operations, as well as the administration building. But as I said, it is not there's no obligation, but it's what's the potential scope of what would be included here. And we're talking about, overall, many hundreds of millions of dollars for all of the facilities. And
Non-binding.
it's a plan, it's a
But a
planning
plan.
document.
Okay.
And there's, as happens, because there are things that come up throughout the course of time, that there might be something not included here. And in those instances, a revision can be made when an emergent project arises that allows the board to add to the list to be able to accomplish whatever that emergent project might be. So the key here is, this is a requirement. It's not obligatory in terms of we have to do everything that's listed here. It's something that the state requires of all school districts to have a long-range plan in place. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, my next is number 14.
Can we ask a couple more questions on that? Yeah, I have more questions on the long-range plan, if that's okay. Yeah.
That's fine. Wilbur?
Yeah, so when was the last time we submitted the long-range plan?
It's
I
been
looked and I couldn't.
years.
Okay.
Years. I can't even give you an exact date because the state has put this on the shelf for such a long time. And what they've requested now is, this is what's called a major update.
Okay, and so was there a particular trigger to have this long-range plan be put together at this point in time? Just
Because they're requiring it.
Oh, okay,
They're requiring that it be submitted.
so there's a deadline that we had to hit.
Yes, and
something.
also, we've got some, and one of the things that I think that may have triggered it with them is the fact that we have other projects that the board's approved to submit to them, and they're saying, well, we need to have this in place to advance everything else that we have going on.
Okay, and I just want to ask a little bit more about the implications of this list. So it seems like the approach to this list is we put everything we can think of on there because it's better to have it on there than not to have it on there. Is that correct? So what happens, again, if something comes up? So I'll just come up with a ridiculous example, since we're talking about replacing schools. Let's say that for some reason we need to replace Memorial again. And,
forbid.
yeah, I know,
No.
I know,
Let's use
I
a
know. I lived
hypothetical.
through that. I lived through that because my kid was supposed
don't
to
wanna
start
do that.
kindergarten when it caught on fire. So that was awesome.
So-
So what happens if it's not on the list? What does that process look like?
It's actually quite simple. It is the submission of an amendment to the long-range plan. So it's basically tacking on an additional project. And that typically is something that would be done by board resolution with the approval of a project and the submission of plans, and that basically gets submitted to the DOE, and they update the plan accordingly.
Okay, and then one last thing, with the dollar values of the items on here, and I'm just gonna pick one out at random so I don't bring up Memorial again. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so there's a thing for a perimeter fence installation around Churchill at $815,000. I'm not questioning that number at all, but what happens if we decide that that's what we want to do, and then it turns out the cost is significantly higher? Are there any implications for that scenario if?
These are estimated costs that our professionals have put together.
Right.
We would not use the exact dollar amount that's here. We do an up-to-date estimation for bid purposes, so we would want to know that at the time that we're planning. If we were going to move forward with something, we need to develop what those plans would be. Fencing is kind of an easy one, but
Sure.
if we take, if we were to say we were going to put an addition on a building, we would get into the details of that, what's required in terms of HVAC, the construction, electrical, plumbing, all of those components, and really dive into developing what that estimate is, and that would be the basis that we would use to ascertain what our funding levels would be, but also how do we go about funding it, and then ultimately going out to bid. So
Okay.
these numbers would not necessarily be the number that's going to be used.
Right, right. But what I'm asking is, since this goes down to the state, and we have a number here, and if the cost or the winning bid comes in at a number that's significantly higher than the number that the state has, are there any implications for that?
No, and when an application is submitted for a project, the cost, the current cost estimates are all submitted with that application. So this is a benchmark, if you want to call it that, but this, from the state's perspective, what they're looking at was this part of the original plan, or is this in addition to the original plan? And it's not going to have an impact as to whether the state is going to say, do it or don't do it. They're going to look at criteria when it has educational implications. Do we meet the administrative code criteria for classroom size, the additional space for support services, libraries, nurses, areas, main offices? They'll look at a whole host of other criteria. They're not going to use the long-range plan to say, well, this is what it said, and this is the dollar amount, this is what you have to live with. That won't be the case at all.
Okay. Then that sort of begs the question, what is the state doing with these numbers? But I'm not really interested in the answer to that.
I won't
It's
beg
the
to
state.
try to answer that.
Tim?
Thank you. Who makes the list? Where did the list come from?
That was done administratively.
Okay.
And looking at what our needs are in each of the facilities, things that we know need to be done.
Got you.
The one thing that jumped out at me immediately was parking lot curbing, sidewalks, milling, repaving. That's actually a number of schools. We know that needs to be done in various facilities, so that's an easy one. So basically, doing a walkthrough and just kind of really diving into each building and trying to come up with a comprehensive list of what are the things that need to be done. And then ultimately, when it comes time, prioritizing. What are the things that rise to the top over others? So
Yeah, that was my next question. There wasn't a column on here for priority.
it's not a prioritization.
Yeah, I got you. And so are principals or other members of each school community involved in making this, or do they have an opportunity to at least weigh in and offer feedback?
Well, these are a lot of projects that we've also have discussed historically, even
Yeah.
with principals.
Yeah, some of these probably been sitting
Just
around
for
for a while.
example, a couple of the projects that were recently advanced were the multipurpose room and kitchen renovations at Chittick and Frost. Those are projects that we've sat down with principals to go over to see, what the scope would be. They're going to be full-blown renovations in those areas, similar to what we did at, I'm sorry, did I say Chittick?
You did.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean Chittick.
We're having a very Chittick night.
No, Frost and Warnsdorfer. Chittick and Irwin were previously done with complete renovations. But we sat with the principals, and we typically do, with anything that's a major item. That's what we
Okay,
do, is
cool.
go through that.
No, that's great. And then it looks like, is there a minimum balance or threshold that constitutes like making it onto this list? Or is it just sort of, these are all needs-based plant issues?
I wouldn't say that there's a minimum threshold.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
There wouldn't be repairs.
I got you.
A repair
I got
would
you.
not go on this list.
Yeah, I think the smallest number I found was 45,000, but then like it jumps to 250,000.
Yeah, you're talking, many
a
of
shed.
these are,
Yeah.
well in the millions.
Right, yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Are we going to stick with this one, or do we want to come?
I think you have a question on this.
Okay, still with this one, okay.
So, I know you said that it's been a number of years, so did we use the old template to make this, or this was newly created? Because I saw an item on here, and unless I'm misreading, for Bound, it says new school, $48 million.
For
Bound?
a similar size. That was one of the things that had been discussed. And at some point, I think there's going to have to be a discussion regarding what happens with the building. The building is very old. So the board was going to have to grapple with that decision at some point as to, does it get replaced? Does it not? Does it get replaced in the same location? I can tell you that through the work that we had done several years back, trying to build a school on that site is going to be a challenge, to say the very least. So then the issue becomes, well, where? And trying to identify land that will meet the state criteria to be able to build such a school. So this is a placeholder. It's something that the board will have to grapple with at some point in time as to what happens. I know we had talked last year, forgive me for saying this, but we had talked about, the potential closure of
Right.
Bound.
That's what I mean.
But, that's not something I see as happening in the immediate future. I'm sure there'll be people that'd be happy to hear that. But what is the long-term life of the building? And it is very aged. It needs a lot of work. And it's a decision that the board's going to have to come to some kind of a decision at some point. And some of that may be balanced with, does it make sense to try to build a new school and acquiring land to do so? Or do we expand some of the other elementary schools to make up the space? Because keep in mind, Bound is our smallest school. We have less than 200 students in that school. Our other elementary schools are in the 400 student range, so, and more, 450, I think we're somewhere in that range. So these are conversations for the future.
Okay, so it's more of a wish list than a plan,
You could
right?
call it that, because
Okay.
there's a lot of things on here that will probably not happen in our lifetimes, I would say.
Okay, all right.
Not for the many hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cost.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lori, we'll be back to you.
Okay, so thank you. 14. So I'm just, I guess first question, what's the timeline on this? Is this something we have to submit now? Like, what is the requirement for submission? Can the board have access to or see the original October 1st, 2021 letter regarding the reason for?
Oh, absolutely.
And then, I guess thought that came to mind was, we know that this is a point of great discussion in our community with the TCUs, and their life and what they're, being used for, and how our schools are separated at this point, by grade. And so I guess like one of the things I was thinking or thought was that, is this something that we wait for Dr. Mammon to come and sit up here and join this discussion maybe at our December meeting? Because I think having a discussion about the outlook, I mean, I know this is 1 year temporary for the renewal
So
application.
let me address that. So, and for members of the public, the discussion topic is the renewal application for temporary classroom units. And this specifically is regarding the TCUs at Churchill. From the first year, a renewal application had to be submitted to the Department of Education. It's a requirement under the administrative code. Typically, temporary classroom units, the Department of Education says 5 years, you have a plan. The Department of Education is not going to say, you have to remove these facilities. First of all, the facilities are exceptional. I mean, they're really wonderful facilities. They're better than some of the high school classrooms, if you will. So I think that's an important point. So, a lot of and I've seen some of the commentary regarding these facilities. The commentary is wrong. It's just wrong. So I do think that the big conversation, it definitely is going to happen when Dr. Mammon comes on board, because that's going to be an important point of what's the look ahead. But for the time being, let me just finish, please. These facilities remain, and I want to address something with regard to changing grade configuration. I'm going to say this very clearly. There is no room at the elementary schools to move fifth grade back to the elementary schools, not in the way they are now. You would need additions on the buildings. There is no room. We can have a debate about that another time, but there is no room to be able to sustain fifth grade across the board.
I know we hired redistrict, and I'm trying to stay on topic here, as for this agenda item, but I know that we hired somebody to look at our redistricting plan. And so I think that part of this is being anxious, like what does that look like?
Right.
And, so I know that's gonna be part of the discussion. I also know that within a year, we won't be able to move these, right? So the point and discussion around it is kind of mute because they're there, they're going to be used. We can't anticipate new buildings or changing structures or anything probably that fast. And we need to at least renew our application again for another year. But I just think, and maybe we okay this today, but I just think we have to give reassurance to people that like this is a discussion that's at the forefront of everybody's up here's minds, right? Like this is a level of concern for people. The cost, the efficiency, and I'm not gonna disagree with you about this space and.
Well, understand that these were purchased outright. There are no payments on that facility.
Yeah, I also think that's an area of confusion for people that are not sure about that, so I'm happy that
Yeah,
you're able to clarify.
that was paid off at the time that they were installed.
Yeah, I just, again, I know it's a renewal application, they're gonna be there at this point no matter what. I'm just saying that in my mind, I think that in our next meetings and early as Dr. Mammon joins us, we're gonna have to have these discussions.
Yeah.
Because we really have to address some of these building concerns.
I think that'll be part of the planning that the board goes through with Dr. Mammon in terms of goals.
Also on this subject, when I was at the NJSBA conference, I did speak to somebody from Modular Ease, which is the company that we purchased these from. And what was explained to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Bernie, but what was explained to me is after the 5th year that they're used, the company comes in, does whatever they do, all kinds of checks and fixes up everything, and then they're kind of renewed so that they can continue to be used. So it's not like the state is gonna say, oh, 5 years, demolish them. That they will be able to be continued to be renewed. The state would have to come in and re-examine them, make sure everything is up to code, but they can continue to be used. And, not that I'm suggesting this, please, but they said that in Philadelphia, they actually build whole schools out of these prefab units. And they can go multi-floors, they can go 4 floors. So
There's a lot of
I'm not
modular
suggesting that.
construction out
Yes.
there.
Yes.
I don't know how the community would like to have an
prefab.
entire,
No.
new school as a modular,
No.
but, and I don't know what the DOE's stance would be on something like that either. They seem homes
Yeah.
are done modularly.
Yeah.
There are lots of possibilities out there, but the construction on these units is unlike what I think a lot of folks might recall as being trailers.
Construction.
30 years ago, because back in the day, we had some of those up at the high school. These are not those trailers. Right? No, that's not what these facilities are.
If you remember, when we did, when we were putting out, we had a video from the company that was building the TCUs, and it was posted showing like how they were put together. And they're included in the video, I believe, there's a chain of private preschools that have their entire building put together by this company in the same manner. So they've been around out there for a while, doing, I think, more substantial construction than those construction trailers, which still exist in other districts, sadly.
Can I just make sure I'm
Tim?
clear on something? Thanks. So we've finished our 5-year term on these things, correct? And every year now, we are going to need to just kind of recertify with the DOE.
It's a renewal application, and it's not that it's after the 5 years. We've been doing
it every
the
year.
applications.
And you can only do it 1 year at a time. You can't do it
Yes.
for a 3-year term
Yes.
or a 5-year term. So,
Yes.
okay. So every year around this time, we're going to be seeing this until a bigger decision is made as to how to move
Yes.
forward. Okay.
Sorry.
May I just ask a question on that? So what I'm getting at, I guess what I'm hearing is that the state will come in and review what we have there and make modifications or suggest or recommend modifications?
For the TCUs?
For the TCUs.
No, the state won't come in.
So they just want to make sure that they're still standing right?
The state comes in during the monitoring process.
Okay.
Which we recently had gone through, and they do walkthroughs of various facilities against an inspection list.
Okay.
TCUs would be one of them. But one of the things that we do is we have to, with regard to our facilities overall, in fact, this is the time of year that it'd be occurring, we have to do inspections of all of our facilities. Principals have to sign off on the inspections. There are many criteria that have to be met. There are criteria that are called 100% criteria, where if any one of those is not met, that's a failure on that building. Then there are 80% criteria where a whole host of items that you have to have met at least 80% of all the items on that list. It ranges from something as simple as the boiler license being posted, to asbestos plans, to our extension cords being used, do the lavatories function. It covers all kinds of things, fire code, building code, very important process to ensure that our buildings are safe,
But that is an internal process?
that we have to then send
To the state. But what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, the TCUs, the state will come in and okay,
No, we
so
do that
it's
process
so
as
the
well.
same process.
It includes the TCUs.
Would be included. Okay,
Yes.
so, because I was concerned the way it was presented, that there would be additional costs
No.
that we would have
No,
on
that
top
was
of
something
this.
that Dr. Braun mentioned in a conversation she had with a vendor.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's going to apply with a leased facility. We
Versus
don't have a
purchased.
leased facility, we
Okay.
own the facility.
That's what my question. Okay.
But I will add that our facilities management team has done an exceptional job with our facilities to ensure that they are, any of the issues that might exist are addressed.
Okay.
And that includes the TCUs.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Marianne?
So this is for 2025-2026 school year. So should we decide to do anything else with these TCUs, let's say for the fall, there's nothing to stop us. It's not like this is set in stone. It's just an approval for this current school year, but
The board can do anything with regard to facilities that the DOE would then have to approve. So anything that is done with facilities, the DOE has to approve.
okay. So this is for this current school year?
Current
That
year.
we're already in?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, anything else on 1 to 16 for business and support ops? Wilbur?
Couple quick things. Item 1 for the kitchen equipment maintenance, repairs, installation contract. Do we have a timeline as to how long that's going to take to finally nail down a bid, given that the one bid that was submitted had the fatal error, which is an awesome term, by the way.
Yeah, well, and that is the technical term.
Yeah.
The legal term for it, it's a fatal error.
Yeah.
So once the board approves, the rejection of the bid will immediately get a bid advertised and issued. So I would say within the week's time, that would be done.
Okay, thanks.
And then the turnaround time, of course. I'm going to say, based on the timing right now, I don't know that we'd have an opening for the 4th. Are you thinking the 4th? Probably January.
We went out to bid because the co-op bid through Ed Services Commission expired.
and they had a delay. So we have this fatal error. We're hoping that the Ed Services Commission awards one. If not, there's other co-op options. And just rest assured, the equipment's still being repaired under quotes instead of a bid. So everything's handled. It's just taking a little bit, we have a little gap, but.
So we're
still
going to
in
utilize
compliance.
potentially a co-op rather than going out to bid again? Okay.
So we're exploring all options, whatever the most cost-effective process is.
Okay, great, yeah, that answers my other question on that one. Let's see, for item 7, the Protect Group repair for the jam pack, the rigging system at the jam pack. Let's see, how old is the current system, and how long has it been since a repair like this needed to be done?
16 years, that's, the building's 16 years old, and I think it's been,
This is the most
the first time.
comprehensive replacement of the rigging system. We've had minor repairs throughout the years, but this is a comprehensive plan to bring it back up to where it needs to be.
Okay, great. That sounds reasonable then. So then, the last one, item 15, we're moving from 3 child psychiatrists and 1 social worker to 2 child psychiatrists and 2 social workers. And just want to check that the caseload seems reasonable for that makeup.
This was the recommendation of the Director of Special Education, and she does feel that it would balance the teams, 2 per each discipline, and better meet the current needs of the students in the building.
Okay, and, I mean, I've worked with a ton of social workers, and wonderful is the least best term that I've, they do terrific things, but I just wanted to check on that. And then the other thing, fiscal impact of this change? Do we know that yet? No.
it's not going to hit the budget. It'll balance.
Okay,
It'll balance or possibly even be a lesser cost.
yeah. Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
Leroy?
Yes. So the easy one for item 12, for the joint transportation agreement, who is going to pay the insurance for this transportation?
Who is going to pay the cost for this?
No, the insurance.
Oh, the insurance?
Yes.
The insurance is paid for by the district. They have their own insurance on the buses.
So the district is East Brunswick or the?
No, the district is Hopewell Valley.
Okay.
So they hold the jointure, and we'll be tagging on to their bus.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else on 1 to 6, Jim?
One more, sorry. Going back real quickly to Wilbur's point on the rigging system, do we have a minimum a minimum threshold for when we have to put something out to bid, to solicit bids, in terms of dollar amount?
Yes, it's established by law, and it's more than that. It's about I think it's about $50,000.
Upped it.
It's in that range, yes.
So in this case, did we do that?
Well, it's 119.
What item number is that, Tim? I'm
Sorry, that's 7. Yeah, it's $119,000.
That would require a bid. with the law.
We're using a national co-op, that's why.
Right, that's what this
We
is.
had to advertise, and you have to board approve it before we can issue a purchase order. We are a member of about over 30 co-ops, I think.
Got you.
Throughout so we're always shopping for the best value, the cheapest, most effective.
I hear that, yeah.
And one of the things that, just to note for the board, you'll see in resolutions that, such as in this one, it specifies the contract that it's being purchased under, or the work is going to be performed under. In this case, it's the KPN contract, and we have to specify what that contract is, what co-op contract that is.
Gotcha.
But yes, we have to do this by resolution each time.
Thank you.
And just to piggyback on what Tim is talking about here, I worked that rigging system. I was there when it was installed, and I worked the system. And this is not something you want to mess around with. This is a severe safety issue, because those battens, super dangerous if something goes wrong. And, I mean, they were squeaking like crazy when I was still working there. So I'm glad to see that they're being updated.
All right, is that it? And I will say, it's probably advantageous to the district that they're getting such heavy use, because the JM Pack is a lot of revenue for the district as well on the weekends. All right, this is a roll call vote on business and support operations.
Anna Braun,
Yes.
Timothy Cummings.
Yes.
Jamie Falco.
Yes.
Louis Figueroa.
Yes.
Lori Herrick.
Yes.
Lee Woo Hong.
Yes.
Wilbur Pan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Tanyos.
Yes.
Heather Gloss.
Yes, motion carries. All right, I need a motion for human resources, item 1.
Move.
All right, Wilbur? Second. Lori? Discussion? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Anna Braun.
Yes.
Timothy Cummings.
Yes.
Jamie Falco.
Yes.
Louis Figueroa.
Yes.
Lori Herrick.
Yes.
Lee Woo Hong.
Yes.
Wilbur Pan.
Yes.
Mary Ann Tanyos.
Yes.
Heather Gloss.
Yes, motion carries. Can I have a motion for special education and student services, items 1 through 3, please? Wilbur and Jamie, thank you. All right, discussion?
Yeah.
Mary Ann?
So, just because I'm not familiar with this, I see that there's 2 students where it says they're going to benefit from our out-of-district placements from a therapeutic, more structured learning environment that will meet students' social, emotional, and academic needs. Maybe it's the way it's worded, but isn't that something we should be providing all of our students here? You know, it's concerning for me that we're saying we're going to place students out of district because we're not providing enough of a structured learning environment that's meeting their social, emotional, and academic needs.
No, she's not.
I mean, I can just tell you, generally, so under the law, districts have to put children in the least restrictive environment to meet their needs. So it's not suggesting that your school doesn't have therapeutic, emotionally appropriate classrooms, but there are certain children with certain disabilities that there are schools, specialized schools, that are more appropriate for them to give them therapeutic, whether it's they have emotional issues or they are on the spectrum. So these are out-of-district placements at specialized schools. I think it's a more structured learning environment to meet that specific student's needs, and these specialized out-of-district placements specialize in that. It would be cost prohibitive for the district. We don't have the resources to have a classroom to meet every child's needs. You try to meet the maximum amount you can, because this is very expensive. It's much better to, if you can educate the kid in district, it's much better, but there are certain children with certain disabilities that there are specialized schools that they're sent to. That's why it's done, and that's really more of a term of art in the law in the special education context. To meet that kid's, it's the individual children's therapeutic needs in a structured environment.
Okay, I guess it was just more clear for other students,
Yeah.
like it's more clearly worded, and here it just
That's
sounds
just, I'm just
very.
saying, yeah, generally that's,
Yep. Just a quick question for clarity. What does CMO stand for for the second student? The student was placed out of district by their CMO.
Case manager.
Okay. I know CMO is a completely different thing, that's why.
Be their child study team case manager, I believe. Yes? We don't have anybody out there? Okay.
I had one more question. sorry.
Sure.
Under item 3, the monthly school reports. So, I guess it's going backwards because there's no page numbers, but it's 1 to the 3rd page back. Specific infraction is cell phone possession. That's not against our policies, though, at the high school, so.
Which page again?
Going backwards, because there's no
Oh,
page numbers.
backwards? Oh, third from the end?
Third page back.
What did you say the issue was? Sorry.
Cell phone possession?
Cell phone possession?
Yeah, but
Thank
we
you.
just did our policy where, do you want me to? You want
This is the 1, 2, 3. No, that's,
VPV.
oh, here we go.
Cell phone possession.
It could have been in class.
All right, I mean,
It might have been a cell phone possession in class. I mean,
But the possession is okay, because that was in our policy. It was,
Yeah.
if they're, I just want to make sure that, everyone is aware of our policies in all of our schools.
I'm assuming, I'm just assuming, but I'm assuming that was, the student had the cell phone out and was using it in class, which would violate. But you're right, the wording on the
Yeah.
infraction is confusing.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Someone's going to check that, I guess?
Yeah, that would go to Dr. Bouchard, right? Because that came from him?
that came from him.
Yeah. Send this nice one.
Thanks.
There's nothing else.
All right, sorry, I was making a note of that. It's slowing me down. All right, this is a roll call vote on special education and student services 1 through 3.
Anna Braun,
Yes.
Timothy Cummings,
Yes.
Jamie Falco,
Yes.
Louis Figueroa.
Yes.
Lori Herrick.
Yes.
Lee Woo-hong,
Yes.
Wilbur Pan.
Yes.
Marianne Tanios.
Yes.
Heather Gloss.
Yes, motion carries. All right, we are to committee reports, informational items, and for the good of the cause for the board. Wilbur, I guess we'll just work our way around.
Sure. So the CPAG Resource Fair was yesterday at the high school. Lori and I had the pleasure of attending that. It was a fantastic event, and I'm actually quite astonished that it's only their second year doing this, if I remember correctly. Last year's event, I remember, was really good. This year's, they had probably, I'm guessing, at least 35 to 40% more vendors. Foot traffic was tremendous, and I know that they were planning another similar event for the spring because of the success they've had so far. So I just want to acknowledge the wonderful work that the CPAG folks are doing. Let's see. I'd like to thank Heather for the update on what's been happening with the transition, and that we have a retreat planned and that there's an agenda in place. I was just wondering if we could have that sent out to us as soon as possible, since it exists.
I think that, I'm not sure if that would have to wait until Dr. Memon actually started with us, but I will speak to her about it.
Okay. I mean, you could send it out as a draft. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. And then finally, I had, let's see, just for transparency, I had some questions about the planning board. My wife is a member of the planning board, but I think these are general enough questions that there wouldn't be a conflict of interest thing. It's mainly because of process, and just cut me off if I'm wandering into the DMZ, if that's okay. All right. So in terms of bringing our projects to the planning board, I just want to make sure I understand the process, understand the process well. So, we have plans that were being presented yesterday. The one that got presented involved the parking lot at Chittick. And my understanding is that the presentation at the planning board is strictly for informational purposes, and we don't actually need an approval from the planning board. Unlike, say, if Mid-State Mall wanted to reconfigure their parking lot, they would have to touch base with the town ahead of time, present at the planning board. If the planning board had modifications that they might want, then that would have to be discussed and incorporated in the plan. But we don't have to do all of that
That's
process, right?
correct. Under the municipal land use law, public entities such as school boards, county colleges, even the town, if you're undertaking a capital improvement, you go before the planning board for what's known as a courtesy review to make sure it's consistent with the township's master plan. And so it's a courtesy review. They provide feedback on your plan, but it's not a vote. Similar to your example you gave about the mall going in, that requires a vote.
Right.
And then you also have, under the municipal land use laws, you also have the Board of Adjustment, which is an entity that's going before to deviate from the town's ordinances and master plan and you have to get permission from the Board of Adjustment to adjust the master plan. So there's two different land use bodies within the township, but what happened last night, and it happens at any capital project, if you're gonna build a new football stadium, you're gonna put a dome over it, you would go in for a capital review project, and it's known as a courtesy review. And that's done all over the state, and that's mandated by state law.
Okay. Let's see, so for the projects that we're considering, when do we get public input onto, into the process? Because again, if this was a private sector thing, and Mid-State Mall doing something, that would come to the planning board, but they would have to give notice to the folks that live in the area about what's being planned, and also, the people from the public can show up at the planning board meeting to get input. Do we have a similar point of contact with our things?
So planning board meetings are open public meetings under the law, just like your meeting is. There has to be an agenda and notice. The difference is that the law does not require public entities to provide the public notice. And the public notice, what you're talking about is you have to give certified and regular mail to everybody within 200 feet of the entire property boundary of any change that you're trying to undertake, to basically put your neighbors on notice. The law does not mandate or does not require that for public entities, given that, look at the size of a public entity and the square footage. I mean, just think of one of your buildings and the property, how many people surround it. It would become cost prohibitive. There are notice requirements from the planning board, what's on their agenda, the public knows about that. And then, other than just, principals talking or making presentations to the public. You have done, like, for example, several years ago, I think it was about 2 years ago, when you were talking about the softball fields and the updates to it, you guys had presentations here at the board for the public to hear about it. That, once you made those presentations here and discussed it here at the board and voted on it, then it goes a couple steps. It first has to go to the DOE, because you have to get Department of Education facility approval. Then it goes to the planning board. So there's lots of notice to the public when a body like yourself is undertaking any type of capital improvement. But in terms of, the law does not require that, and because it's the taxpayers, when you're sending out certified mail to hundreds of people, I can tell you, representing private, and I don't, my law firm does, when you represent a private developer and you're sending out hundreds of things, it's an expensive undertaking. That's why they don't, and the improvement, most of the improvements that you're making are improvements, just remember, for public purpose. So a town doesn't need permission of its planning board or zoning board to do things if it's improving a park or it's putting lighting up on a field, because it's a public purpose, and the entire public body of East Brunswick will enjoy that capital improvement. And that's the whole purpose behind it, is to try to, you're using taxpayers' money, you've been elected, and you have these different bodies looking at it to make sure that what is being expended on behalf of the taxpayers is to the benefit of the taxpayers, making things safer, better, newer, et cetera.
Okay. So in terms of the input that the planning board did provide, for the Chittick project, I know we're not under any obligation to incorporate those things, but do we have a sense as to, would any of those items be taken under consideration, or is that?
Well, I can tell you that generally what happens is, without getting into the specifics of this,
course.
You very often you take that into advisement. I can just give you an example. I am the city attorney to a town in Union County. They're putting lights up, and you put up big lights on football fields, you got a lot of people that are upset. They didn't notice people, but they told people came out. And at the planning board during the courtesy review, there were suggestions about the timing of the lights, when they should be off, if they're not in use, et cetera. And all that's now being incorporated into the town's ordinance. So the whole purpose of going to another body, because they're the experts on planning, is to get their input, and very often, many of their suggestions are incorporated and could revise plans and do things. That's the whole purpose, is to have that dialogue, to have another set of eyes who are experts at it, give you their feedback on it.
Okay, great, thanks. I also just want to say that I'm very happy that I went to that planning board meeting, because I learned a lot. I've never actually been to a planning board meeting before, despite the fact that my wife is there. Lori also went with me to check things out, and I did learn a lot. And I see a lot of opportunity for us to work with the town going forward for these sorts of things. So just want to say that for the record. Thanks.
Anna? So I'm gonna, I just want to get 2 easy things off my plate here. First, the East Brunswick Public Library is hosting a tween stress less night tomorrow night for grades 5 through 7 and their parents. So parents are required to be there. You can contact the library to sign up, but it's in conjunction with the mental health task force in East Brunswick. And then I also just want to remind everybody that the East Brunswick Symphony Orchestra is having an event on November 23rd at 3 o'clock at Trinity Presbyterian Church. And then I have 2 things, and the first, Mr. Jacoby, I'm hoping maybe you could help here or weigh in on your thoughts. And I followed up with Dr. Boley about this, and I think we had a productive conversation. But at New Jersey school boards, we were able to meet the people who are piloting some of our new programs. And they had offered to provide a presentation for the board to help answer our questions. And so while I was there, I had reached out to Dr. Vleski and had asked, like, is this an opportunity for us? And then Dr. Boley had said, well, we have something planned for parents, and perhaps the whole, she could share it with the board, and we could be invited. And I guess somewhere between all of that was a discussion with somebody. I don't know if it was you or Francis. But regarding the fact that if the invitation was made to the full board, then it would look like we had quorum at this parent meeting that was held virtually about this new curriculum that was educating parents. And so I think my concern or thought process is, then how as a board do we become informed about a new curriculum or changes or these new programs that we're piloting if we cannot be as a full board or for a presentation that is held virtual or in person?
Yeah, well, I mean, generally, whenever, so you're a 9-member board, so whenever 5 or more of you are together, you have a meeting. And whenever 5 or more people are together, the Open Public Meeting Act mandates that you provide advance public notice, at least 48 hours to the public, so that they can come and participate. At every public meeting, you have to have a public comment portion, you have to have an agenda. If it's a special meeting, the purpose has to be published what the purpose is, and it's limited to that. So it doesn't preclude the board from participating in this. So I don't know the name of the entity, but the ABC entity wants to come and tell you about a new curriculum that they're putting out, and you're opening it to the public. You could notice a meeting. It could be done either virtually, you might get more participants that way, or you could have it virtually and where you sit here live. I mean, you could do it all different ways. The only thing you would have to do is if more than 5 members of the board want to be present, you have to notice it. And the reason you'd have to notice that is because you're talking about an item that is being utilized in this school. It's school-related. That's different than, say, you're having the play that's being shown. If the whole board goes to the play and you're sitting all over the audience, you're not there conducting board business. You're there, supporting the students who are putting on this production, or a concert. If you go to the November 23rd East Brunswick Symphony, you're not conducting board business. This would be clearly board business. So typically, and I've had many of these cases where there's presentations. And I'll give you an example. Many, many years ago, and I don't think any of the board members were here. I know that Lou, you were here. They did it was probably a decade ago. They did it in, I think it was the Hammersholt cafeteria where you had the board, it was noticed, and there was basically feedback in small group sessions with members of the community to get input on things, and there was boards and people were writing on stickies.
the strategic
and
planning.
strategic planning. So that was one where you involved the community, so you could easily do something like that. You could literally have a special meeting, you could do it at the JM PAC, and have this group come, make a presentation to the board, to the public. You guys could sit in the audience and have them make a presentation, and then you'd open to the public for comments, and then when that's done, you could open to board comments. So you can absolutely accomplish it, you just have to always be mindful of the Open Public Meeting Act and those requirements. And I think I've told you guys, if you violate the Open Public Meeting Act, the body that looks at you is called the Morris County Prosecutor's Office. So you got to be very mindful of that. So that's why you want to make sure that you can do it. It's just, it might take a little bit of notice, but it's not impossible. And I've done many of them in very different contexts like that, especially if it's informational where both the board would benefit from it and the public would benefit from it.
Yeah, I think that was my concern, is that I think it's a achievable outcome, right? Like,
Yep.
and who does it benefit? It benefits everybody.
Right.
Because if we know what's going on and we're like well informed and we can talk about or answer again like very low level questions and refer people to who would be their point of contact in the district, it makes it easier and better for everybody because we're all on a shared same page. And I think I just had some concerns about how we can make that happen. And again, like I'll thank Dr. Bully because we had a conversation before we came out here. And so we were able to address it and fix paths that we probably were missed. But we addressed it and I feel good moving forward. But I just want to, again, make sure like people want to understand the curriculum change. They have questions and it's new. And so I think we're all working together to just be on the same page and being a resource as well. Like parents see us as a resource, right? And so I think that we have to just make sure that we're meeting that goal.
And usually if you're doing something of that nature, like you're gonna have an outside entity come in and make a presentation, my recommendation is I wouldn't do that at a regular board meeting. You got a lot of stuff on your agenda, you know, if you wanna do it and you really get the input from the parents and have people listen and have a dialogue, you do a special meeting. And at the special meeting, you can notice it and say, no action will be taken. This is an informational meeting, questions will be answered, and you have that, the meeting is dedicated to that special purpose. And then at that meeting, you can't take any other action. That's the only thing you do. So that's typically, and that happens a lot when you're doing informational things. You're undertaking some type of project or building, or like you did at strategic planning. You didn't take any action that night. You just got input from people. And so it's very easy to accomplish. You just, when Dr. Mamon comes, you tell her, and you figure a time when a lot of people are around. You don't do it over teacher convention, because that's usually probably not a good time. Everyone was in Florida.
Stuck there.
Yeah, but it's absolutely doable.
Okay, thank you. And then my last thing, I just wanted to talk about the school funding survey that went out, and I think it was also an opportunity for us as a district and to be able to put together some type of response or community outreach a little sooner than we did. And I know on my part, like I had shared it with board members kind of as soon as it was shared, I think outright back in the beginning of November. And then when thinking about it, and I sent it, to the board, I had just forwarded Dr. Purnell's email from New Jersey school boards, and I said, I think this is an opportunity to ask the public for their input and to provide testimony and support for some of the challenges that we have been facing. And I also will acknowledge, off the bat, changing the funding formula does not mean it'll work in favor of East Brunswick, right? When we're looking at equity, we don't know what the outcome will be for overall. But we know that there are some things that, again, we could definitely go to bat for, like the special education funding, having more of a time to focus on our budget instead of a preliminary budget and a hard budget due so fast after numbers come out. And so I know that around November 5th, I had shared it with the administration asking So like saying that I just think it's a good opportunity. And I felt like it took a while to get a push out. And Mr. Juliana, I appreciate the response like that. You know, because I know I said there's board members and community members that have questions about how to answer some of this. I mean, you know, I'll use my example to you. And you know, I said the first question is averaging multiple years of wealth better than using the most recent year alone? And I totally understand and appreciate your response that you don't feel comfortable like providing answers, specifically because it does ask for a name and to classify yourself. But I just feel like we should be able to have a discussion about what the best answers are. And now I feel like it was a mischance because the survey closed. And if we weren't willing to tell people, closes tomorrow, right? So if you're watching, like this isn't live, so if you're watching first thing, but I just feel like too there was the opportunity, like if you don't feel comfortable answering these questions, there was also the email that you could provide, like a statement or information. And I just feel like for surveys, especially when it comes to funding or any other district endeavor we want to take on, these are like low-hanging fruits, right? Like surveys, getting people to send emails because their experiences are real, right? We have kids and parents at Hughes months ago. We had the music, and we know that we're going to face continued changes as time goes on. And again, like these are missed opportunities because I think that people in our community would support us by answering a survey or providing information. And I will just say, like, I really think we missed the mark in waiting until 2 days before it closes to get it out. And I don't know how we become like more, I don't want to say aggressive, but more as to advocating for the needs of our district because we're advocating for our kids. And again, look, I also acknowledge that it's the DOE. I don't always think they read everything that comes in front of them. Like, I don't know. I'm not here to judge. You know, I definitely see them working very hard, but I'm sure it's overwhelming to take all this information too and kind of make everybody happy. And I know that's not going to be the outcome. But I just think that we can ask our community for support and just be on top of these things a little better. And I really do think that having an advocacy committee going forward is probably one of the better ways to approach this, because I think if earlier we had said, hey, like the district or administration just doesn't feel comfortable telling people how to respond, that us as a board, if we had an advocacy committee, could have said like, okay, we're going to talk this out together then and get the answers that we think are the best to our district and get your input and kind of have discussions about it and go from there. And so I'm just hopeful, or I believe that we can do better going forward. And I think that's it for me.
Oh, before Tim starts, the survey is open through the 14th, which is tomorrow, and it is posted on the district website and shared on the district's Facebook page. So if you are looking for it, that's where you can find it.
And your name is not mandatory, by the
Right.
way. You can skip over
did
that.
my
Yeah.
initial,
Yeah,
okay.
I was very fond of the places where you were allowed to say unsure.
Yes.
I appreciated that choice.
Yes, that is an option, but I do feel like we collectively know what the best responses are probably for our district, right?
Well, but the point of the survey is to get people's opinions. And just to be clear, my discomfort is with telling people what they think.
Right.
People need to be able to express what their opinion is in a survey.
I totally
What the way I might see something may not be how someone else sees it.
agree. I totally understand. I just think we, maybe going forward, what we have to look at is making our message clear as to the measures within the state that would help us specifically when it comes to East Brunswick, and what exactly it is that when we advocate or have the ability to speak to people that are making those decisions, what we want that to look like. And I think that being clear with our message is a win overall for us.
Yeah.
Tim?
Also, and just want to note on the survey that I think it is far better to answer.
Did you see it?
What?
Keep talking.
Yeah.
I said Tim, the voice came from there.
Sorry, sorry. Start over. As far as the survey goes, it is far better to answer unsure to everything and then go to town on the one question that you know something about. And there is a room to type in comments. So, and as far as I can tell, there's no character limit on that either. I tried. So please fill it out because some information from East Brunswick is better than no information from East Brunswick.
I'm going to try it again. That's it. Ready?
It's all good.
Tim.
Yeah.
Real Tim.
The second Tim. Totally agree, and just, yeah, I mean, I'm ditto to everything you said, Wilbur. And Laura, you've really been a champion for this, and I really have a lot of respect for that. What we haven't done well is, and I loved what you said about advocacy committee. We have not actually put together a group of people that should not just be people up here. It should involve members of the community to really strategize around this and what is important and what is the message and how do we as a community clearly communicate. So I hope we can get there. And Lori, I think you maybe should lead that committee. Volunteering. No, I'm just kidding. No. I mean, I've volunteered. No, I mean, I really do think that, we need, it has to be community feedback and input, members of the, faculty and administration, but we haven't done that well. So we have to fix that. And I mean, we're going to be hit with another at least $8 million deficit. I think it's probably fair to assume that, and I hope I'm wrong, but we have to think that effort there is worth it and probably could make a change. So thank you, Lori, and thank you to the other members who did do that. I mean, I failed on that myself. I have time, no, but you're right. I mean, when it came out, we should have hit the ground running from that moment, and that's what a committee would do with someone who's really driven to help push that forward. So that's an area of improvement for us, and I really hope that we can get on that.
All right, Levi, I'll be last.
As for that survey, I put my name there, I put my contact info there, I wrote very long comment. I asked them to contact me. If they have further questions, I'm waiting for the opportunity because I really want to talk to them. Okay, so I have multiple reports. So on October 29th, the curricular committee had a meeting, and Dr. Bowley and her team did a very good job. I don't know if people know that East Brunswick is certified by New Jersey Motion Production and Television Committee as the movie ready town, and there was totally 43 of them. So we made some course name change to help our students to take advantage of this future job opportunity. People knows, I believe some people notice that there are a lot of film activities happening in this state. So we hopefully, we try our best to help our students get ready for their future. Hopefully the action, performing, and filming will provide them a job opportunity. So thank you very much, Dr. Foley. And the curriculum, and again, it's about Dr. Foley. She and her team did a lot of things and about the pilot program. So on October 29 and October 28, there is a pilot coming to meet our parents and our teachers. The title for that being a Reader K-5, it's parent section. And then on October 30th, there is a math night. So it's the math team provide the evaluation and parents and the parents university. And then last night there was 2 sections of the pilot related to the Amplify CKLA. Parent sections is about ELA pilot. So when I attend all those meetings, I'm kind of very disappointed. For the first pilot program, we only have 5 parents showed up. And the second, the math night, we have less than 10 parents. And last night, first section is less than 10 parents, and second section, we only have 5 parents. The team spent so much effort to get the presentation And especially when we use a pilot to test a curricular program, we may or we may not use in future. So this meeting is the golden opportunity for the parents, for the teachers, of course for the providers, to get together, exchange ideas, to get feedbacks. So if your children are in the pilot, and I really hope parents talk to the parent, how are you doing with this new pilot program? And I suggest Dr. Bully to get all those teachers together who is in the pilot program. Let's figure out what's good for this program and what is not good for the program, and that will help us, the curricular committee and the board, make the decision if we will roll out this program or not. So that's why there will be more opportunity to come out, right? And I strongly urge parents, teachers, take advantage of this opportunity. It's free. It costs you 1 hour or 2 hours. And so let us know, let the provider know your idea, your feeling, and your suggestion, and they will help us to grow. So at the end of the day, our purpose, our single purpose, is to provide our students the best education. But this needs everyone's combined effort. So that's the statement I want to make. I urge parents get involved. School only cannot prepare your children well for the future. Okay, so, one last thing, as the superintendent report stated, I really appreciate Mayor Cohen and his team to put $250,000 for the Warren Stover parking lot. I have been saying everywhere, well, only one East Brunswick. At the end of the day, every penny we spend, every penny school district saved is taxpayers' money. So the township helped us out for the Warren Stover parking lot. I personally, as a taxpayer, as a parent, as East Brunswick community member, as a board member, I really appreciate. I want to thank Dr. Mayor Cohen and his team. That's all I have.
Jamie?
I'm still in awe of our student athletes. As always, go Bears.
Lou?
I just want to take this opportunity to wish everyone in our district, whether you're staff, administration, and of course, all of our families, a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving this year. Enjoy, hopefully, your family time together. Thank you.
Marianne?
So thank you, Lori, for reminding us about the survey. And as Jane just kindly reminded me, there's actually an option for students as well. So if you're a student, please make sure to fill out the survey. With regards to an advocacy committee, I've been asking for this since before I got here. This board has probably gotten a million emails from me. As somebody who's been to Trenton, I can't tell you how important that is. And that was, Dr. Mammon has so many wonderful things about her, but the fact that she took South Brunswick to Trenton was one of the key pushers for me as well. So we can't undervalue what it is to advocate for our district. So I hope that we're going to take a more active approach towards that, and I know that you're going to be at the forefront of that, so thank you in advance. Just one, I have a couple of things, but thank you to the Township of East Brunswick as well. That would, I love to see the collaboration. I hope we're going to have more of that as we move forward. I wanted to ask if there was a transportation communication protocol. There was an event that occurred this week where late buses didn't leave Hammarskjöld until an hour and a half approximately after they were supposed to. And it left a lot of families in, concerned. And when they called to ask, what's happening, they were advised to reach their children on their cell phones. But given that this is Hammarskjöld and we just signed a policy that says no cell phones, they didn't send their kids to school with a cell phone. So this takes me back to, I want to make sure that, one, there's an effective communication protocol in place for transportation. Oftentimes as a parent, I'm not notified that the bus is going to be late until it's like the bell is about to ring, and I'm already on my way to school because the bus never got there. So I don't know if there is one in place, but I would like to see one in place. And two, if the advice is going to be that Hammersholt students need their cell phones, perhaps we need to revisit our policy, because those things need to be aligned. What else? Last month was school boards, where we attended workshops. It was wonderful. It was my first time, so I really enjoyed that. I learned so much, and one of the sessions that I walked into was given by a Mr. Dave Nash, who was presenting on AI in schools, and it was called Opportunities and Landmines. And I'm sitting in this with about, 500 people. And he starts presenting content, and he's like, oh, and this is being shared from East Brunswick. And Dr. Mike Gaskell comes on the screen, and he was one of the content sharers for this entire workshop, and it was really phenomenal, and it speaks to the talent that we have in our district. And he even asked, he's like, who's from East Brunswick? And I proudly raised my hand, like, I didn't even know this was happening. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Mike Gaskell. Thank you for being one of the numerous talented employees that we have in our district. Last but not least, to go back to Wilbur's question, sorry, parched, about the agenda. Is this an agenda that has already been put together for the retreat?
I don't know how we call Dr. Mammon from to the audience to this.
No, but I mean, it's already been put together? Like, you've seen it?
She and I were working on it together.
So
We were
I think the
discussing.
rest of the board can see it, then, if
Yeah,
you've seen it.
You
I-
can absolutely call.
Can everyone come
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, yes.
That is what I said.
Good evening, East Brunswick. Yes, so I've hit the ground running, right? My 90-day entry plan already started. I think I'm day 30 now. And because I'm an English teacher, I write down everything. And as I'm listening and visiting and talking to people, and as they talk to me and putting together, okay, this is going to be good. I need to add this to my agenda, my retreat. And I did that and rightfully called Heather, and I said, Heather, I know it's not time yet. It's like however many weeks out, and I'm not technically an employee, but really I have this retreat agenda. I want you to kind of take a look at it. Let's work towards it. So I do have a draft of the agenda. I'm actually quite proud of it. And as I meet one-on-one with each one of you, I think even some of the board members I met with today, I was kind of said, this is what's on my agenda, this is what I'm doing, you're getting a sneak preview. So once I'm done meeting with, I have some of you tomorrow, and Mr. Cummins on the 19th.
Sorry.
It's okay, I forgive you. After that's done, because your feedback as I talk to you one-on-one is also going to help me flush it out even better, then I would, with permission from President Guas, send that to all of you. Okay.
Thank you.
And Laurie, we can do the advocacy committee. You tell me what to do. You're running it.
So, and just so for public.
You love it.
Do you have questions for me?
No, not at all. Thank you. For public transparency, the retreat on December 4th, can that be in the open? Because I was checking, and it looks like as long as it's, back to Mr. Giacobbe's thing about OPMA, it should be in the open unless there's closed items that would only go
Yeah,
into closed.
so the retreat takes place at an open public meeting.
Okay.
So there'll be a portion for the public to speak. If there's anything in the retreat that touches on, there's 9 categories under the Open Public Meeting Act that preclude public discussion of them. Personnel, labor negotiations, contract. So Dr. Maman, we can look at it and say, these are items that have to be discussed and you can bifurcate it. You can have a public portion, and then you can have, if there's something about personnel or.
Goals.
What?
Goals?
Yeah, goals. There's some things that are deliberative that you guys could discuss in closed session. So we'll look at the agenda, and then we can identify what would go into the public portion, kind of like this evening's, all the items that you went through. And then under the closed session agenda, you could list it under the specific one of the 9 categories.
Okay.
So I'll be glad to do that but of course it'll be after the 19th because of Mr. Cummings. So we all know that.
Tim.
Boy, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Somebody has to be last. Was, Marion, are you done? Okay. So I have a list as well. I want to reemphasize, first I want to thank Dr. Mammon for the work that she's doing right now, using her own time because she does not work here yet. She still has a very large full-time job, and she's been using her time to come here as well as doing her job. So I know that, was it yesterday only? It feels like it was longer, but there are like 16, 18-hour days happening in a district that wants to get every last bit of her greatness out of her. So it is amazing the amount of time she has spent in the district, meeting with people, touring, trying to get her bearings as much as she can before she officially starts on December 1st. So I'm very, very appreciative. At school boards, I also went, and I have to say that I spoke to some people, not from East Brunswick, about how difficult it is to be chosen to present at school boards. I was speaking to somebody who was very, very honored to have been chosen, but she was sitting with 3 other people who had submitted proposals who were not, so we were talking very quietly. But I would like to say I had the opportunity to hear Dr. Mammon speak, and it was excellent. And if you've ever been to a convention, you know sometimes you go into the rooms and there's not that many people sitting there, as it's sort of an open come and go. And sometimes you go into the rooms and there are fairly a decent number of people. That was the only presentation I went into that was in a very large room, and there were people standing up against the walls because it was so packed. People wanted to hear that presentation. It was excellent. I want to also say that we have some really good problems to have here right now. Last night was the Amplify presentation, the Zooms, but it was also the CPAG night. And I was frustrated at first because I wanted to be at both, and then I was thinking, it's a really good thing to live in East Brunswick where we have so much information coming from the schools that we have to pick where we want to go because there's so many things going on, so many nights. So while I was a little salty last night that I couldn't be at everything today, I've decided it's just a really good problem to have. I wanted to thank the high school students again for the event at the high school. It's not, we do trunk or treats. We all do trunk or treats. And this year, trunk or treat was really hard. Candy was insanely expensive, so just crazy. But there were some people there that were unexpected joys for the kids. I would really like to express my gratuity to the elementary school principals that were there in their crayon costumes. I took a million pictures of them. They were very, very good sports about that. But the little kids coming into the high school are sort of overwhelmed, and there were so many costumes and there was noise, and they walked in and they saw their principals. And you just watch them all light up. They're, oh, they're here with these other people I don't know. Those are all principals. But that was a great way for them to enter. And community programs was there too, right at the door. So they saw people that they knew. The brilliance of it, though, was that the students were running the rooms. So it wasn't just go get candy, go get candy, go get candy. You know, we went to the math room, and my kid sat down with her friend and did math problems with a math teacher and some Math Honor Society students who helped her solve. If you solved, then you could pick some candy. She went to the German club and had German tongue twisters and had to flip a hat onto somebody's head, which was much harder than it appeared to be. But that was high school students playing with little kids. And it's very much like the cheerleader event. Was that really a month ago already? When we had our youngest learners cheering with our high school squad. I love seeing our youngest learners spending time with our high school students because they look up to their teachers, but you have to see them when they're with the big kids. They just want everything with the big kids. So the candy was not the highlight of the Halloween at the high school. The highlight for the kids, I think, was the high school students who were very hands-on and in there. The advisors were not running those rooms. The advisors, were sort of in a corner, making sure everything was good. But the other thing I just want to stress is that it felt very amazing to have a place that had quiet areas and louder areas, because if you have a child who has different needs, sometimes the big functions at the schools are very loud for them, and it's not so easy. And there were a lot, I have friends from CPAG specifically that I bumped into, and some other parents who were so appreciative of a variety of spaces so that their child could enjoy it as well and not be overwhelmed. And it was just really a cool night. There was just stuff everywhere. Took me a minute to realize that one of my favorite coaches was a dinosaur. I felt a little off. Quaid was dressed in a costume. We went in to go do some field hockey events and then realized who we were talking to. But just very appreciative to the high school students and their advisors, and they were there very, very late, giving our little people the opportunity to see the kids they look up to and want to be. I think that, yep, my notes were long, but that's everything. All right, Lori?
I would just be remiss if I, thank you. If I didn't, I know was unable to be here tonight, but I do thank Dr. Oleski for his service to our district. And I wish him well in his future endeavors. So I thought, although he's not here, the recognition is there.
Agreed.
Thank you. Oh, I also want to say, I did the survey. There were some things I had to look up. Please go do the survey. If there's things you don't know, you can click unsure. But it really is looking for individual people's opinion, and the more opinions, the better picture they get of all of us here in East Brunswick. Marian?
That I missed also. Regarding the Amplify and the pilot, I appreciate everything that Dr. Bull, you've done to try to get as much information out there. And Mr. Hong, while I agree that it's important for parents to want to get involved, I like to think of myself as a pretty well-informed parent. And for full transparency, I have to say that a lot of the information that I've been able to gather about this pilot has been from members of the community and in looking at the Amplify website. And while I appreciate the efforts of the presentations that were given, that wasn't where a majority of my information came from. So I just want to be clear that, our efforts are wonderful, but there's so much more that needs to be done. And it's not entirely fair to put that entire burden on parents, like myself being one of them, because and we heard parents speak tonight who shared that same feeling. So I think it's important to say that this has to be a collaborative effort. That's all.
I'm not trying to put the burden on parents, but I'm emphasizing their input is very important in this decision-making process.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, because this is a multiple party got to contribute: provider, teachers, parents, even some students if they're old enough. So we need to work together to make the final decision which will benefit our students. I'm not trying to give too much pressure on the parents, but I do urge them to come to the meeting. They express their opinion, or they agree or disagree. We want to know. I believe the providers want to know their true feelings. They like or dislike. That's the way we got to know the information. Okay.
I just want to clarify that on the district website, there's a tile for the reading pilot programs with a lot of information there as well.
And that's where I've been getting some of my information as well. But I think, I'll give you an example. I've been getting calls from constituents about the Dibbles reading screener, and it's like, they're like, oh, the BME stands for below, meeting, exceeding, and it actually is like beginning, middle, and end, or did I say that? Yeah, it's one of those. So people didn't even know what that stood for, and there was no communication that explained, you got a reading screener in your Genesis. This is what this means. So it's not just, it's just to say, we can also put out more information. Yeah.
There's a parent night for that Monday, and more information is always better.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm going to piggyback on that and say, again, it's that good problem that we have sometimes, because as an elementary parent, not so much from the high school, but as an elementary parent, when you get the principal's letters about everything that's going on, the number of links at the end for events that are coming, it is easy to miss something that you want to see. I mean, I know I get distracted when I get to theater week, and then I'm like, oh, wait, and you don't get all the way to the bottom to math night that happened to also be at the high school the other night for my school. But there is a lot of information coming out. We can just keep encouraging parents to ask questions and access the presentations as they come. But I appreciate the people that were there last night. It was very, very informative. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Move.
All right. Wilbur and somebody. Who is somebody? Jamie. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Have a good night.